What does Paisans mean to you?
Well, I guess in a literal sense, the definition of Paisans, which I've looked it up before, which is family. It's your community. It's your neighbor. It's the people around you, and that's what a Paisan or a Paisano is, and that's what it's meant to be. It's been a group of people that have had the ability to come together and create an entity that's served a public need. We've fed people and created jobs and had a community, and I think it's a very fitting name for what the restaurant has been and done for so many years.
What do you think it's meant to everyone who's worked here?
I think there's so many friendships that have come out of the restaurant, the employees, the customers. Of course, I've gotten to know, I think, the employees as better than the customers, because it's just that, when you're working with somebody, you spend hours upon hours with them, and depending on how long they stay, you can hours and years. It's meant employment. It's meant being with people that you can work with and appreciate. So I'm co-owner of the restaurant, and I'm the lucky guy that gets to do anything that needs to be done, and so that's one of the things that's always kept me interested in the restaurant, because I got to go around and put out fires and create things, and it's always been very exciting to do.
Okay, I'm Jerry Meyer. I'm one of the co-owners of Paisan's restaurant. My whole working career was at Paisan's, and I tell you the truth, I loved it. I have no regrets at all about working at Paisan's. Fun too. It's not like sit behind a desk for 47 years at the same job. I had we did a lot of different things, which I guess probably helped my longevity at the restaurant.
I think the only time you sat down is to eat a pizza. Otherwise, you were running all the time.
Yeah, it was a busy place.
Yeah, very active.
So many people have come through those doors. And of course, you can't remember all the names and everything. But over the years, not only customers, but Paisans have put a lot of college kids through school. Heidi, you worked there. Brynn worked there. And Ed's 4 wives all worked there. Wally's wife worked there.
So for introducing, I'm Heidi Mancusi, and I'm Jerry's daughter, and grew up in the restaurant. Had all my birthdays in the restaurant when I was little. I've been at all the employee get-togethers for years.
You haven't been at all of them.
Well,
because,
no, they were there before me and after me.
In the summertime, there was a party after work every night in the summertime at somebody's house.
Well, I wasn't at those. Maybe a couple. So I started working at Paisan's officially when I turned 14, and worked there. I think my last shift was when I was 28. So I worked about 14 years. And I remember even when I got my college degree in nursing, and at the time you had to go pick it up, and it was at across the street from Paisan's where I had to go pick up my diploma. So I picked it up and I brought it over to you, and you were working a lunch shift. And I said, "Look, Dad, what I did, I've got my diploma." And he said, "Well, do you still have your apron? Because we're short-staffed tonight." And, working at Paisan's I have so many amazing memories of friends and family, and above it all, it's something I've always been so proud of that my dad did, that this restaurant came to Madison and succeeded because of a lot of hard work that I witnessed every day. Yeah, I was a waitress most of the time, or a busser. I bussed tables. I filled and cleaned pepper containers because nobody else would do it. And I also caused a lot of, I think, ongoing camaraderie and commotion between staffers at Paisans. It was always part of what I was trying to do.
What do you mean?
Well, just like I would pick on Ed and Wally, and Dad and I had some ongoing. I didn't want to be. When I was 14 and I was working there, it was all college kids working there. I was the young kid, and I didn't want people to know how young I was.
Well, I get it.
And I didn't want people to know that I was there because my dad was one of the owners. So Dad didn't agree with that. And he, my first day, or one of my first days, it might have been my first day, I was bussing tables, and the host came up to me and said, Heidi, someone has thrown up in the bathroom, and you got to go clean it up. You know, you're the busser. That's what you got to do. It was one of my first days, and so it was all cobblestones to get back there, and I went and I got the mop, and I went over all the bumpy cobblestones, and I think I was swearing the whole time, and so I didn't realize that this is what was in the job description, that I was going to be doing this. And I get back there, and the other busser who was with me, she was back there too. We opened the door, and it was clean. Nobody had gotten sick. And we turn around, and Dad's laying on the floor, and he's laughing so hard. And she looks at me, and she goes, "Do you know that guy?" And I said, "Nope." And we took the mop back. And then a while later, I was waiting tables, and all of a sudden I looked up, and I noticed that there was a picture of me naked in a sink from when I was a baby. And I went around a corner, and there was another picture, and
In the booth.
yeah, there were a few. It just was not going to be a secret that I was your daughter.
I put up a lot of pictures in the booth just for her.
But Paisans was always a second home to me. I mean, we spent a lot of time there, and I cared
Even
about it a
after I
lot.
retired, all of our birthdays and anniversaries and any special occasion was no other place, Paisans.
Right.
And families after families, sometimes the third generation of families came to Paisans on not only just on a regular basis, but all their special occasions. I really wish that it was still going, because we would be going there again.
Right.
We miss it. It was something I worked very hard at, and so did pretty much everybody involved, my partners, and we give it our all, but we made it all work, and it worked very well. One of the things that made me the most proud was all the teamwork that was put into it. All of our employees were loyal, hardworking kids. I was very proud to work with them. People leave town and they come back. First place you got to come to was Paisans. I heard that every day. I heard someone say something to those effects.
Well, you know, I'm working over at Chento now, but I've had people call, and when we say that we're booked, they say, well, is Paisans open down the street? They'll fly in from California. And they'll be like, well, is Paisan still there? And I have to say, no, it's closed down. Portobella's down the street though. You can go downstate and go to Portobella. But I mean, I guess I should introduce myself too. I'm Brynn Mancusi. I am Heidi's daughter and Jerry's granddaughter.
My favorite granddaughter, by the way.
His only granddaughter. But I also started officially working at Paisans when I was 14. But I would host with Papa for butter noodles when I was like 7 or younger. Also grew up at that restaurant, and also every birthday. And then even like I went my prom night. We went and got dinner at Paisans. Like every celebration at Paisans.
I think we had some attributes that were really important. We were a reasonably priced, nicely operated restaurant that had a wonderful view and a long tradition, and people that worked there that were pleasant to be with. And I think that's the attributes that people always point out and talk to me most about. And all their wonderful experiences of coming in for a birthday and you name it, just coming in for dinner and enjoying themselves. That's a tradition, and traditions are hard to, they're hard to. I always loved it when a young family would come in with their young kids, their babies, and I think, yes, because these kids are going to start off and been a tradition with mom and dad and maybe grandma and grandpa, and we get another generation coming. So let's do it right. As this the end of Paisans happened, that became the most challenging thing that happened. So the restaurant closed. It was if we back up to the Sunday, it was Sunday I worked, and my wife and daughter helped, because again we had left COVID, we'd come out of COVID, and we were just kind of maybe rounding the corner a little bit. And then all the troubles that happened with the restaurant, open, closed, the parking lot got worked on. And so that Sunday we worked, the family worked, and then it was my grandson's birthday, and we had plans to go up and come back on Wednesday. And when we came back on Wednesday, the city had ordered the restaurant closed because the building was to carry out inspections of the parking structure, and they no longer were doing that. So the city determined without the inspections they couldn't be guaranteeing the safety of the building, and so they didn't allow it to be occupied. And so then that was the finale of it.
How'd that feel?
Oh, it was terrible. It was awful. And it was especially awful because then it wasn't just me, it was all the other people. And how do I, what do you say to this family, this group of people? And fortunately, we had something to offer because we had the other restaurant, we had Portobella, but we were taking a restaurant that was fully functioning, operating, and sending a bunch of people there that had to, we tried to integrate the two staffs together, which, we made work a little, but, many of the people did disappear. So it's an awful feeling. And, in certain respects, our hands were very tied by the situation. Didn't have a whole lot of control over it. Well, it was very emotional for me because I'd put a lot of heart and soul into it. I guess I don't know, have another way of expressing it. And I kind of finally gotten to a point where I think I can talk about it a little bit without becoming too emotional. And this will be the 50th year I've worked for the restaurant. And I started as a student, and I met my wife at the restaurant, and my children worked at the restaurant. My family, my in-laws all worked at the restaurant. My friends all worked at the restaurant. So it's just, it's kind of, you lose a piece of yourself because it's gone. And whenever I go past the remnants of the building, I always stop and look at it and think, oh, and another kind of funny thing that I say this every time, but almost every local news broadcast comes on and they show the same view, and they haven't updated their view, and I still see Paisans here every time because they'll have a picture looking across Lake Monona at the Capitol and John Nolan Causeway and the Law Park corridor, and you can see Paisans sitting there in the building that you're in, sitting there. So every time I see it, I know there's Paisans, and to try to be kind of funny.
I sure miss Paisans, and it's too bad the way it went down. That was a shame. That was going very strong when it had to quit. It had to stop.
It wasn't ready to be done.
Yeah, it wasn't ready to be done. It would be just as strong today as it was had it not succumbed to this, what it did. Yeah. So I was sad to see it go.
Hi, I'm Holly, and I'm Jerry's daughter, and I have a lot of memories of Paisans and Portobello, mostly childhood memories. I worked a little bit at Paisans, but for the most part, all my memories are of playing in the restaurant, when my dad had to go in on a Sunday to clean the oven, or getting songs on the jukebox when my dad was working, and his partners and managers were all really caring, loving people for their employees, and all the employees were so much fun too. I just have so many positive memories growing up, and I should probably apologize to everybody when I was younger, because I was probably kind of annoying running around when people were working, just having fun. But yeah, I loved growing up at Paisans. I also had a great appreciation for good food, good company, and also all the artwork was really a big impression on me. I became an art teacher later in life. And I made this painting for Paisans when they moved to a new location on Wilson. But the building that I spent the most time in was at University Square. And I have so many memories of the pond outside with the koi fish, and it's so nostalgic to think about spending time in that restaurant. It was my home.
Hi, my name's Penny, and I'd like to have wonderful memories of Paisans. I met my husband through Paisans, and he also we have had 2 children that work there, and also a granddaughter who worked at Paisans for quite a while. My memory is celebrations, many happy family and friends celebrations at Paisans. It brings so many wonderful memories to me.
Memories of going up there is gone. Paisans. When I think of Paisans, I think of my best friends, my best times. Working at Paisans changed my life. I went to college from a little small town. I'd never had any money in my life, and then came the tips rolling in at Paisans. We spent long evenings together. Everybody pitched in, helped each other. We played together, we worked together, and it was such an honor to be there. The amount of money that I was able to amass and carry home in my little bag of coins was enough to put me through college. To this day, I have multiples of friends who I met at Paisans, and it was such a family atmosphere. It was a great place to work, and we will miss it dearly.
Well, from what I hear from my customers, they're missing us, and they would love to see us come back. Will Paisans come back? I'm not entirely certain. I probably tell you that the Paisans isn't going to come back with myself and Ed as the leader of the restaurant. I think we're going to need some new, younger blood to operate it. If we can find that, I'd say yeah. Again, the economics for me is not really a good situation where we're going to invest some money and a lot of money for me, and then take a long time to pay it back. Age is a thing that progresses always forward, hopefully. And at a certain point, you run out of that. And I've done this for 50 years, and I'd like to find a new adventure to go on. I think we do a pretty good job of replicating it at Portobello. And Portobello's got some different offerings, but the real basics of Paisans was always a good pizza and pasta sandwich and a porta salad, and we do that here. And so I think we do a pretty decent job. But there's a lot of people that put their heart and soul into this and to make it, and did it for lots of reasons, and I think a lot of good reasons. And I think the thing that really always strikes me is that we tried to have fun doing it, and that, I think we did a pretty good job of making that thing work, making something work and have fun doing it and carry it forward. And I think that's a really important thing. We made a family out of a bunch of people that weren't necessarily family. So how cool is that?
I was proud to have been a part of Paisans. Yeah, very proud.
Me too.
Yeah, me too.